first thought was, wow, a new puppet, how exciting. I was excited just to have another tool in the toolbox.
I really like that. It isn't an adapted tool. It's a tool that started from scratch, from our culture and our knowledge and our identity.
Hello, welcome to the Granny and Grandpa Connections box. Before we open the box, let's cover a few important points. The Connections box is a cultural resource for parents and caregivers. It can also be used by anyone who works with children and families, including children's programs, children's centers, language programs, parenting programs, and home visiting programs. The Connections box is not designed to teach people their culture, but rather to introduce the items in the box as a way of exploring their own cultural teachings. It is designed to respect different cultures, traditions, and teachings of the First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. The Connections box is a learning resource. Therefore, the items in the box are not toys. They are to be used for exploring, experiencing, and sharing cultural teachings, and should be used with adult supervision. The Connections box recognizes that each culture group has their own protocols and culture-specific teachings regarding some of the items in the kit. It is strongly recommended that you research, learn, and follow the protocols of the nation whose territory you are in. There are three main purposes of the Connections box. First, it supports the belief and understanding that we have as First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people that culture and language are the foundation of children's development. Secondly, the Connections box emphasizes the important roles of families, particularly the grannies and grandpas, in raising children. The last primary purpose of the Connections box is to help raise awareness about how the first 6 years of life are important to ensure the well-being of our children so that they grow to be healthy, strong, and vibrant people. Let's open the box and see what's inside. The Connections box has a circle blanket. It contains a child-sized drum and a drumstick, a rattle, a paddle, and a sash. Also in the box are stuffed animals, a wolf, a killer whale, an eagle, a seal, a deer, bison, and a bear. Inside the box is an interchangeable puppet that can look like Granny or Grandpa. And last but not least, you should find a guidebook with information and resources to help you use this kit. The Connections box is designed so that communities and programs may add items that are culture-specific and more relevant to your community or nation's culture and teachings. The guide is divided into two categories. It is set up so you can use it with adults or children in different settings. Each category has several sessions that you can facilitate.
The first session was just amazing. As soon as I opened up the box and pulled everything out, we started with introductions. I started with the elder introducing herself, and they just got caught up in that.
The sessions are organized according to three themes: the gift of family, the gift of celebrations, the gift of oral traditions. The sessions are intended to be fun, interactive, engaging, and flexible. As facilitator, You are not expected to be an expert in the culture of the community you are working in, nor are you expected to know about or teach other people's cultures. In fact, your role is to guide the discussion, ask the questions, and begin the conversations in your group around their own cultural teachings.
And what I know of the paddle is very little. I know it's made of wood, and this one smells good. So I just don't know much about how the paddle has come to be. So if you know anything, please feel free to share it, and Sean will share with us what he knows as we go around the circle.
Your role is to help them explore their culture, share their culture, and relate these conversations back to how they are supporting their child's growth and development within the context of their culture. Before you start, here are a few things that you should know. The Connections box is primarily a parent resource.
What I like about the Connections box is it honors the parents as the first teacher.
What this means is that the approach is to work with parents to explore their own teachings around cultural ways of raising children. The approach is also to provide parents with the tools to engage and interact with their children using items in the kit, either in the program, at the center, or at home. When used in a children's program or center, the approach is to provide opportunity for children to touch, feel, hear, learn, and explore the items. To provide them with opportunity to learn traditional language, songs, stories, dance, and ceremonies that shape their identity and development as First Nations, Inuit, and Métis children. As mentioned, it is meant to be fun, interactive, and engaging, so use the guide and the items in the kit to encourage play, laughter, and humor. One final comment about the approach. There are no step-by-step instructions. We have provided tips and ideas to serve as a guide to help you facilitate the sessions.
I think that for me is the really exciting thing, that no session is ever the same, because you have different families, different beliefs, different peoples, but it's taking that time to listen to what each family brings to that session and being able to honor it, because every family, every person's unique, and whatever they bring is of value.
That's what's unique about the box, is that it's not a preset way of doing things. It really invites parents to start talking about really important things about culture, about their children, and their community.
Participants will generally be interested and ready to be part of the circle. However, be mindful that discussions involving parenting and child rearing, as well as cultural connections and identity, may bring personal issues in participants related to historical events, such as the residential school or 60s Scoop, or current issues such as disconnectedness to family or community due to adoption, foster care, or other various circumstances. Be prepared to support the participants that experience various emotions in the circle by providing the necessary services or resources. In advance of the sessions or home visits, prepare and discuss some general guidelines to acknowledge the issue and emotions, but refocus the discussions to the strength of the cultural teachings. Singing, dancing, storytelling, playing, and laughter can be healing and spiritually uplifting.
With those items, stories come. Like the stories, the laughing, the crying, everything that you'd be amazed at the stuff that comes from that, because you don't expect it, but yet people feel so good after.
It will bring healing.
Yes.
It will bring that healing that they will feel as they go with this kit.
Participation and involvement of elders is a very important part of each session. When identifying elders, Be sure to include people who see themselves as seniors, not necessarily as elders, when you are recruiting their participation. You may also use the language grandparents, grandmother, or grandfather instead. You may also use the language knowledge holders, knowledge keepers, cultural advisor, or those who are culturally strong when you are finding people to recruit for involvement. Plan and budget for a gift or honorarium to give to your elder or cultural advisor. Plan to make transportation arrangements for the elder. Plan enough time, particularly for those elders who have mobility needs. Meet with the elder in advance to talk about their role and any ideas they have. Show them the kit and the items such as the puppet and drum. Be flexible. Elders have good days and bad days too, just like you and me. Develop a plan B for days that your elder can't attend. Phone or visit your elder to remind them about the session and confirm their transportation and participation. Don't overuse one particular elder. Be mindful that many programs are now asking elders to participate. Be sure that the elder is not overworked.
Such an honor to have our elders. They bring such comfort and warmth to our circle. Just really appreciate them being here. And I know everybody else does too. It just feels whole when they're here.
Elders hold a wealth of knowledge regarding history, traditions, and cultural teachings that strengthen our children and families. When introducing the puppet to a group, allow participants to handle and explore the puppet. Allow time for silliness, fun, and laughter with the puppet. Allow adults or children to pick up the puppet. They may begin to imitate a character using their voice and actions.
My name is Jacques, and I am Métis. Thank you.
Use the puppet to teach the traditional language. Use the puppet to sing songs or tell stories. With parents, use the puppet to facilitate discussion on the traditional roles of grandmothers, grandfathers, aunties, and uncles in families and raising children. You may want to customize your puppet's clothing to better reflect the grandparents in your nation. Use the puppet to facilitate discussion on regalia and traditional clothing and how this relates to children's identity or ceremony and traditions. Use the puppet to talk to the children about any topic. Show parents how to use the puppets with their children. Allow them to practice and discuss ideas for using the puppets with their children. Be patient and flexible. If participants don't respond to the puppet, then set the puppet down to allow more time for comfort levels to develop. Most of all, get creative and have fun with the puppet. The circle blanket is to be used for the circle sessions you have with participants. Laying the blanket down signals that the sessions are about to begin and participants can gather around the blanket. For elders and adults who are unable to sit on the floor, you can place chairs in a circle around the blanket. You may also place the circle on the table where participants can be seated around the table instead. This is a good tip if there is not enough floor space. The blanket is washable and can be used outdoors at a beach or on the grass. There are many different teachings about the circle and its meaning in various cultures. The circle blanket may be used to facilitate discussion on the circle. Much like the tip for the puppet, allow participants to explore the items in the kit. Allow time for the adults or children to pick up the items to encourage their interest as well as promote curiosity and conversation about the items.
What's this?
What do you think it is?
A bear.
What kind of a bear?
Black.
I think so. I think it's a black frisbee bear. Is that a paddle? It's not for the drum though, it's a paddle. For canoeing, right? You say canoeing?
Use the items to facilitate discussion regarding cultural teachings such as identity. Use the items to teach or facilitate discussion on traditional language. For example, how do you say eagle in your language? Or, this is how you say eagle. Use the items to talk about the diversity of the people. For example, talk about the sash that is specific to Métis people. Be sure to consult or research this information, or ask someone in the group who may know the information about the sash.
What does the sash symbolize? It would be worn around the waist and then wrapped around a few times.
Provided in the guide is some information about the sash. Have conversations with parents and caregivers about how to use the items in the kit with their children. For example, use the drum to sing a song to their child. The kit is designed to provide a fun, interactive approach to learning cultural ways of raising and caring for children, to learn about one's identity as a First Nations, Inuit, and Métis person, and to learn traditional language. Many families may be interested in creating their own kit at home. We encourage you to work with the families to find ways to share this resource within programs and within the home, so that the opportunity to support children's development is extended beyond the circle sessions. Thank you for sharing this time to learn about an important resource for children and families.